Creating reports from simulations can sometimes be quite tedious, but the functions in Moldex3D help to make the report output as concise and informative as possible, while also requiring minimal effort to tidy up the report structure after the fact. I'm Alex Baker, and welcome to another Moldex3D tips and tricks. Creating a report in Moldex3D is actually quite straightforward. We can go to the Home tab of the Studio interface, and after the simulation is ran, you can go to the Report button over on the right side to open up the report wizard. You can choose either a PowerPoint or Excel format. Then you choose your template, the run you want to include. You can adjust some preferences for videos, images, and so on, the name of the report, and the location, and then you could create your report from there. The report template that we use is actually very important because that will dictate what information is output. The templates will always be available in the Moldex3D installation path under the template folder of that version. In this case, I'm going to open up the Studio template of 16 by 9. This is the one that I recommend everybody start with. This template by default has 59 slides in it, and the information that's extracted from Moldex3D is driven by a series of hashtag values. These hashtag values tell Moldex3D what information to output for that particular field. In this case, it wants me to output the value of the project report title. Down at the bottom, we have some run remarks, the version name, and the current date. If I go through the different slides, I'll see all of the different information that we're going to output. In a case of text summary, it's just the text of the word summary. Same thing here on the left side of this table. And then over here, it is values of information in the project. In this case, the mesh name, material name, process, and so on. All of these slides work in a similar way, and you can actually customize this information however you want to. For example, if there's hashtag values that you don't see as necessary in the report output, you can remove those by simply just deleting the text that appears here. Removing information from the report template does not impact the ability of the report to be output. It just condenses the amount of information that is output from this report tool. Down at the bottom of this template are 4 very important slides. Slides 55 through 58 output the information using an exclamation mark template. This will create one of these slides for each result item that shows up in the Moldex3D result list. The Moldex3D result list can be customized, result that you would counter in Moldex3D, including a result that has statistical information, a result that doesn't have statistical information, a video type result, and an XY plot. This information, these slide templates, will be duplicated for each of the result items that exist in the result list. The report output by default creates about 250 slides, and so it would be better off condensing the amount of information that shows up in this report by adjusting the slides that show up before these 4 slides, as well as customizing our result list output. We can customize our result list in Moldex3D by going to the Home tab, and there's a result list button here. This result list tool allows us to customize what information is shown up over on the left side in the Moldex3D result outputs. I can start adding information from this list over, or I can start from the Moldex3D result list. I can use Control Click to start selecting information that I don't see as necessary. From here, I can just click the left arrow to remove those results items from my result list. Here's an example of a customized result list that I've created already. This condenses the results from over 100 down to 13. You can adjust the range of this result list to be as wide or as narrow as you want to. And in addition to customizing the result list, you can also customize the individual result items that show up in the result list. Important to note is that when the report wizard goes through and creates all of the individual slides for the PowerPoint, it will click on this result, take a screenshot of what currently shows, go to the next result, take a screenshot of what currently shows, and so on and so forth through each of the results in the result list. However, I can customize the information that shows up by default when I click on a particular result. Let's say, for example, I go into the filling temperature, and instead of looking on the surface, let's say I want to slice through the thickness. I can do so by going to the Result tab, slicing, and I can create a customized slicing grid like you see here. I can adjust the scale so that I can see information a little bit more clearly in the core of my geometry. Let's say maybe I rotate to the opposite side so I can see things a little bit easier. This requires a lot of clicks, and it's not something that the report wizard would be able to do automatically. However, once I've customized this result item, I can go back to the Result tab and hit Save Result Status to save the result in its current format. You can see once I click Save Result Status, the icon next to the result item changes. And so now if I go into the, let's say the melt front time and start looking at the animation, now if I go back to the temperature result, it'll go back to its saved orientation and the result interpretation item that I was in at the time, which was in this case slicing. Because the report wizard goes through and just literally clicks on the result item, if I go to a generic orientation like this here, as the report wizard goes through and starts clicking on these items, once it encounters this customized result, it'll automatically go to that saved display. Okay, let's see an example of this report wizard in action. I can go over to the Home tab, Report. All right, I can choose the template that I want. The one that I just modified was the 16 by 9. I'll choose my run, which in this case is run 1. Choose my report name and the location I want it to be output. The default location will always be the report folder of your project and the run number that you're currently using. I'll click Start, and that will start the generation of the report output. All right, and once the report generation is finished, we can either open up the file location using the folder icon here, or we can press the play button to open up the file directly. All right, so we can see a cover slide, some informational slides for the inputs to the analysis. Then a little bit further, I can see things like the model and thickness, material information, process information. And then at the very bottom, we have all of our result outputs. Once again, it creates a slide for each of the result items using the result list that we created. So in this case, I have my melt front time as an image in a statistical display. I have my melt front time as an animation, and I can see that the number of PowerPoint slides here is quite condensed because of my customized result list. I can also see my customized filling temperature result output in my report here as well. Thank you for watching this Moldex3D tips and tricks. Next week, we're going to be going through the core shift analysis and how we can see an insert deflection based on the plastic flow over the top of it. If there's any topics you'd like to see covered in the future, you can leave a comment below. And you can like the video and share the video with others for anybody that you think might benefit from knowing more about report generation. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.